On a trip to the Syrian border in Lebanon, I learned more about prayer from Muslims than you could ever imagine. The convicting reality that Muslims have a greater expectation that Jesus will answer their prayer than I do is something I will never forget. They pray with an expectation unlike anything I've ever seen. The first church service here is full of Muslim converts. The second, veiled women seeking Jesus. The pastor begins the service by asking whose prayer was answered from last week. Hands go up, testimony after testimony. The service finishes with the pastor asking the women their prayer requests for the coming week. Because not only do they have them ready to share, but they wake up with an expectation that Jesus will have heard and answered their prayer. And in those times where he may not answer it overnight, they continue to pray day after day after day with an expectation that he will respond. It's the moment I realized I can't remember what I prayed for yesterday, let alone last week. And more than that, what have I ever consistently prayed for with an expectation so great it drove me to look for the answer? I've learnt that Jesus hears our prayers but doesn't necessarily answer them overnight. That sometimes we're called to pray more than once for something. To ask without expectation is an insult to God. The trust-filled respect in God should drive us to look for the answer. I've learnt that prayer is more than asking for the things I want. It's trusting him for the things I need. And the prayer is indisputably an act of worship. It's on the Syrian border in refugee camps this is happening. These people are Syrian. They are Muslim. And they are seeking Jesus. Many of them have been displaced for 5 years, and when it comes to prayer, they're not asking for shiny new things. They're asking that Jesus would make himself real to them in their moment of need. They're asking for things like food, shelter, warmth, education, and safety for their children. And time again, Jesus is answering their prayer. And more often than not, he does so by moving the heart of the local church. Courageously obedient and unquestionably the hands and feet of Christ to those living as refugees in their community. Sharing Jesus in a way that doesn't compromise the gospel, but brings it to life and offers them salvation. Isn't it funny how something so simple can become so complex? It's as though the moment Jesus answers our prayers and reveals himself to Muslims all over the world, we question the process. We love the end stories of conversion, but their journey to salvation, it makes us feel uncomfortable, awkward. I've learned from people still searching for Christ that expectation-filled prayer, it brings the gospel to life. How is your prayer life? Because mine was in desperate need of change.